All right. So, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today to talk a little bit about our Caribbean adventures. My name is Bethany. I do marketing and communications here at Broadreach. So, if you get emails from us or follow us on social media, then that's me. And joining us today are Claire and Fran. They are Caribbean directors. So, if you do join us this summer, you'll likely meet one or both of them down there. And a little bit about Broadreach. So we've been around for over 30 years. We run programs for middle school and high school students. So that's kind of our specialty. And our programs focus on scuba, sailing, marine biology, as well as veterinary medicine and conservation. You can see some pictures there of a variety of some of our program focuses. And then the little map there, the dots are where we are leading trips this summer. Of course, we'll be focusing on our Caribbean trips this year or this session. So talking a little bit about them, what do they have in common? So all of them will focus on either sailing and scuba or only sailing. You'll earn certifications in one or both of those areas. We have options for both middle school and high school students, but they'll be on separate boats. And the way we do ages, if your student is currently in sixth, seventh, or eighth grade right now, then they'll be joining us on a middle school program this summer. And then if they're currently in ninth, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade, they'll be in a high school trip. All of our Caribbean programs are either 12 or 17 days, apart from one intensive sailing program that's a bit longer, and then another program that's in the Windward Islands. And then all offer what we call Broadreach culture. So we really focus on kind of small group sizes. So our boats are capped at 12 maximum, and kind of a welcome family-like feel. We believe in kind of inclusivity, including everyone on the program. There's a lot of focus on leadership skills as well, life skills, and obviously sailing and scuba skills. And there's awesome instructors on each program as well, either two or three. Getting more into kind of some of the types of programs we have here, Claire.
Oh, yeah. We have a variety of program types in the Caribbean. The first one is sailing programs. We do some pure sailing programs where the focus really is on those sailing skills. We'll go more in depth on these programs about sailing with sailing instruction. We'll visit a few more islands. On the high school program, they do this one on a monohull, which is a real sailor's boat. They love those types of boats. And we'll also pack in a lot of snorkeling. We sometimes forget that, as well as the sailing. There's still a lot of opportunity to do snorkeling and island exploration and all of that. The next one, we do a lot of scuba and sailing programs. These are really some of our most popular programs. These also involve learning to sail, but include scuba as well. And so with both of them in tandem, you get a real good introduction to both on those programs. We do have some more advanced scuba certifications, scuba programs for those that are already certified and want to go further. They are livable programs, and so there's a little bit of sailing involved. You can learn really as much as you would like on a program like that, but the focus is on scuba and advancing your certifications. And then the final type that we do in the Caribbean, also on a boat, is marine biology. We do marine bio for middle schoolers and high schoolers. They're two different trips, two different lengths. And they both involve studying a bit more in depth the marine biology aspect, as well as the scuba and sailing as well. A lot of the information that we're talking about today is relevant to those voyages, but we did do a marine biology specific webinar if you're interested. And if you have any questions about like the specific syllabus, please reach out and ask us. We'd be happy to talk about it. But like I say, a lot of the information pertains to boat life and learning to scuba, and so is relevant for those programs as well.
Awesome. So speaking of the 12 versus 17 day trips, can you talk a little bit, Claire, or sorry, Fran, about what the itineraries are for the different trips?
Yeah, for sure. I think this is one of the questions we get asked the most. What is the big difference between these two programs? Obviously, the length. And with that means that on our 17-day program, we can go to a few more islands. So in addition to St. Martin, St. Bart's, and Sabre, which our 12-day goes to, they will then go to St. Kitts and Statia throughout their program. And with that extra time, it just means that they can really perfect their sailing skills and the leadership skills that they'll learn on program. But it also gives them the opportunity to like delve in a little bit deeper to that scuba diving skills too. So on our 17-day programs, if someone comes uncertified, they could earn both their open water and their advanced. Whereas on the 12-day, we just teach one or the other, depending on what they come with. So it gives you that little bit more time to kind of really settle into boat life, and really like make some more connections with your crewmates, but also kind of to spend more time on those hard skills as well and kind of perfect those. So off the 17-day, you come off with quite a few dives, so normally around like 15 to 20 dives. And then so it just gives you that little extra time and some more time for exploration. Our 12-day sailing program has a slightly different route to our 12-day diving program. So they'll go to St. Martin and St. Bart's and also visit St. Kitts and Statia. This really just gives them more opportunity to visit some really cool island places where they can explore. St. Kitts has a National Heritage Site of an old fort that they hike up to and visit, and Statia has the opportunity for community service and a really cool volcano hike as well. So it just gives you a little bit more time to explore for that one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Claire, can you tell us a little bit about how travel to and also from program?
Yeah, this is a common question we get. And for our Caribbean trips, we are flying into St. Martin. That's the start point and the departure point for students there. The airport code is SXM. It's the international airport on the Dutch side of St. Martin. Most of our students will fly alone. We find that that's very successful, particularly for the high school students. If you do want to travel with your student and drop them off in person or pick them up in person and build in a vacation for yourself, that's fine. That's perfectly okay with us. But most of our students, I would say, it's part of the adventure is traveling alone and navigating their way to St. Martin. There are direct flights to St. Martin from New York and Charlotte, Miami and Atlanta, I believe, are the most connections, and most of them will arrive in the early afternoon, which is great for starting our programs. Obviously, that means that there's connections and things like that. Some of our younger students may have to use the unaccompanied minor service that the airlines provide, and that can provide some reassurance, especially for those sort of 6th, 7th graders. Just depends on which airline you're with, and you can talk to them about that. What we will give our students is a t-shirt. I've actually got this year's t-shirt on right now. It's pretty nice. We give them a t-shirt to wear. Our staff will be wearing it at the airport as well, and so what we find is students kind of connect with each other in the airport or on the plane, and we can all spot each other once we arrive. So that usually goes very smoothly. St. Martin is not a very large airport either. There's basically one exit that they can come out of. So it's a good introduction to international travel for most of our students. Like I say, our staff will be waiting at the airport as soon as they come out to pick them up, and they will bring them to our base on the French side, which we affectionately call the pad. It's a hive of activity, and it's a great place to start your journey. Then on the way back, also it's worth mentioning that on the way back, Broadreach staff will accompany the students to the airport and help them with anything they need. Some students can check in on their own, others will need some help. If there's any paperwork for unaccompanied minors, they'll help with that, pass on the students to the airlines. And an important point is that the staff will wait at the airport until all the flights have taken off, so that if something is delayed or goes awry, then they are there on hand to help and provide assistance should the students need it. So like I say, we usually find that travel day goes pretty smoothly. We have on-call staff in the office too to assist both students and parents, and a robust logistics team who are prepared for anything that might happen, sort of late arrivals or bags that go astray for a day or so. So travel day, hopefully that puts people's mind at rest. We've covered most of our bases there. It usually goes pretty well.
Yeah. After 30 years, there's not much we haven't seen.
Yeah.
All right, another question we get a lot about is where students sleep on program. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, most of our students, get a good night's sleep. They're pretty tired by the end of the day. We're doing activities all day, and so we're going to bed pretty early at the once we are getting into the evening. We are using on most of these boats catamarans, which are the boats that have the two hulls, and so they have four bigger cabins in those hulls, and that breaks things quite nicely into sort of a boys' side and a girls' side. As well. There may be some extra little cabins at the front that people like to sleep in, but most of the students will be assigned to one of the cabins on their side of the boat with other students of the same gender. I will say that those cabins are mainly used for sort of storing our stuff, changing, that sort of thing. You can sleep down there. It gets a bit stuffy, particularly in the Caribbean, when you're doing that sort of thing. And so a lot of our students and staff will sleep out on deck under the stars. It is extremely nice. It's a novelty of being on a boat and something I would recommend trying definitely once on your trip, even if you decide it's not for you. But most of our students find that the trampoline, the nets in between the holes, are a great place to sleep. It becomes a bit of a slumber party on the boat. And there's a sleeping bag and a camping mat on the packing list for that reason to help with that. Another option is also hammock sleeping. We also have some students that love to sleep in a hammock. Also a great thing to try out. It's very pleasant to sleep on a boat. But wherever you choose to sleep, that sort of rocking you to sleep in the night is with the waves is just great. I love sleeping on a boat.
It's like a adult-sized snoo.
Yeah.
All right, Fran, can you talk a little bit about what the food is like on board?
Yes, I definitely can. We spend a lot of time thinking about food, or I do in particular, about on food on our programs. And the one thing we want to make sure is that our students are always fueled, and so they can take part in all of these activities that we do. Our students will cook all of the meals on board, and we have a rotating system for that. There is a very robust galley guide full of recipes and a menu plan to go with that, so they are never on their own cooking the meals. The instructors will be there to help them. But our boats are fully stocked before the students arrive with all of our dry provisions. So like canned products and things that are shelf stable. And then every couple of days they'll be restocked with fresh provisions, so fruits and veggies and salad things and stuff like that. Our meals are all very approachable and can be easily adapted for students that maybe are a little bit more of a fussy eater or for any dietary requirements. So we can handle nut-free, gluten-free, and vegetarian is very easy for us too. And really, if there is anything outside of that, we are normally pretty good at handling it, and we've seen most dietary things by now. So just let us know and ask us any questions that you have about that. But like I said, we try to make our meals as approachable as possible. And so everything is served separately, so students can make their own bowls and decide what they want on their plate. But breakfasts tend to be cereal, granola, fresh fruit, pancakes, French toast. Lunch is normally a little bit of a faster meal. And so we'll have things like grilled cheese or pasta salads or sandwiches, or just like salads or Mediterranean bowls, things like that. And dinners is really the one time on board our boats where everyone sits down together and has kind of like a more of a quiet time where we can reflect on our day. And so we tend to kind of focus more around that meal. And so it's often things like stir fries, curries, taco night, gosh, all sorts of different things, but normally pastas and things like that. And it's generally things that are, like I said, approachable and things that our students will like. To go with that, there are snacks everywhere on board the boat, almost too many snacks to fit in a cupboard. And the students can access them whenever they want. So they have access to the food, and they can help themselves to it throughout the day. And so we'll stock salty snacks, sweet snacks, there's fruit available. And whenever they're hungry, they can help themselves to those sorts of things. So PB&Js and ramen, and things like that, just to like tide them over until the next meal time if they need it. Um, that sort
And
of
that's
thing.
one of the
Yeah.
life skills that a lot of students come back with. We'll have parents say, "Oh yeah, my student actually wanted to like cook dinner for us when they got
Yeah.
back from their trip." So,
Yeah.
and I've had people reach out asking for recipes for some of the
From
galley guide
the
recipes.
yeah.
Hmm.
You forgot the cake, Fran. We also make cake and
Oh,
Oh,
brownies. Very
we do
important
make
on a boat.
yeah.
cake, brownies, and cookies. Yeah. Pull them out after a night dive is always very popular.
All right. What about the
Um,
instructors? Can you talk about them?
yeah, I definitely can. Both me and Claire were instructors at some point on our programs. Back in the day, we tend to kind of manage everything now. But our instructors are something that we are really proud of. There are always two and nearly always three instructors on each boat. For our diving programs, that looks like a skipper and two dive instructors. On our sailing programs is a skipper and one or two first mates on board. At least one of those instructors will have a wilderness first responder. And that is like a medical certificate. They often do that course with us, and it's around a 5-day course. So it's more intense than your kind of standard first aid course that they have. And then to go with that, following our fleet of boats, we have a support boat that follows. And on that boat, sometimes you can find me and Claire if we're able to kind of get out on the water. But you'll also find our leadership team who have been with us for many years and are very experienced in all sorts of things from mechanical repairs to medical things to logistics and kind of everything else in between that make our programs run smoothly. And so they are there to help student support, be a contact point for parents as needed, and kind of everything like that. Our instructors also return year after year, and so I'd say around 60% of our instructors return every summer to be with us. And so that means that although everyone is trained, that we have some really experienced instructors at the beginning of the summer and kind of throughout the year who lead our programs and are there to help and support and kind of know everything inside and out. Um, all of our instructors do go through training at the very beginning of summer. All of our new instructors will arrive, and we have about a week to 10 days of training with them where we run through everything from how our programs to work to our safety measures and kind of rules and things like that. We'll also take them to the places that they go on those programs so they are kind of ready and excited when the students arrive to run those first programs for them. Yeah.
Speaking of programs, Claire, what is a typical day on
Oh,
Broadreach?
Bethany, you know that's a trick question. There's really no typical day on Broadreach. Every day tends to be different. There are always some things that we do. I'll get to those in a moment. But we typically get up quite early, and like I said before, go to bed quite early. We make the use of the daylight on a boat. It's the thing to do. We try and just pack as much as we can into our days to make sure we make the most of being in the Caribbean on this beautiful sailboat. Towards the start of a trip, we're focusing kind of on dive training and sail training, the training portions, getting our students through their dive certification so that they can enjoy diving later in the trip, and also the sailing as well. You know, the training part takes place earlier on. As the trip goes on and we move to some different islands, we might build in, or we will build in, some hikes, some island exploration. There's also water sports going on there. There's also some community service that we do on some of the islands, typically a bit later in the trip. Beach games are always popular, things like that. And so we're keeping busy, we're mixing it up, and I think that provides a really good introduction to sort of boat life and life in the Caribbean, as well as the sailing and diving certifications. There's something really for everyone there, I think. Even if you perhaps find you're not interested so much in scuba, you can focus on other things and maybe on your sailing and vice versa, things like that. We will have dinner every day day, like Fran said, becomes sort of a special time and an anchor point in the day. That usually is similar, where we'll sit down, have some chat, slow down a little bit, reflect on our day, and also take some time to take care of the boat. There are some responsibilities that our students have. They are responsible for cooking, like Fran said, but also for taking care and help clean the boat as well. We find that really does build some responsibility, a sense of responsibility in them, and helps with their life skills. Yeah. um, I think yeah, it's a great mix of all those things, and we also take some time to have just a bit of fun, those spontaneous moments throughout the day, whether it's backflipping off the boat, or I think there's a picture there of dressing up for the sail race. There's always like those little things that you really can't plan, that go on throughout the day. And the students and the staff will make those sort of magical moments as well.
Yeah, sometimes those seem like the most
Yeah.
memorable moments are like the moments
The
cleaning up
ones
the
that,
boat and like having a dance party or karaoke
yeah.
or what have you.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right, another big question we get about is how will I speak with my student or how will they speak with me when they're on program? Fran, can you talk about communication?
Yeah, definitely. We are a phone-free experience. So we do encourage our students to travel with the phone, so they have a way to contact parents and us throughout that portion. And once they arrive with us and join their boat, the instructors will hold on to their phone for the duration of the program. However, that not doesn't mean we're out of touch. Students will have a scheduled call home day once a week. So on a 12-day program, that will be day 6, and it will be twice within a 17-day program for that. That being said, we're not against contacting home. If a student wants to call, it's someone's birthday, or they just want to check in, they just need to ask their instructors, and we can give them a phone to call with. If they do have an international plan, students can use their own phones to call home, but they don't need to. Our boats will have phones on them that they can use to call home throughout the program. But every day, one of our students, we have one that's a leader of the day, and they will write a trip update to home. So, kind of like a blog post telling you all about their day and what they've been up to. And that will get sent out every evening. Um, as long as we have good service, which we do have most of the time, but every now and then it tends to be sent out the next day. But as soon as we possibly can, we'll send those out. And to go with that, we then have a photo album that you'll have access to, where we'll upload photos every day. Of what the students have been up to. And so they'll see pictures of them hiking or diving or doing jumping off the boat or suddenly all dressed up in sheets for something. But you can follow along with their kind of activities through those photos.
Yeah,
Our
sometimes you'll see
office is
pictures and it's like, I just know there's a story behind this. So you can make a
yeah.
note and ask your student when they
Yeah.
get back home.
Yeah. There's always a story, for sure. And our office is available 24/7 throughout the summer. If you need to contact them to get in contact with your student for an emergency, or likewise through travel days and everything like that. And the office in Raleigh has a direct line to our team in the Caribbean. And so, although sometimes it can take a minute, we can get through to the students on the boats very quickly to relay any messages or to get back to you as you need it.
Right. So we've gotten
Excellent.
through all of our planned content. We wanted to leave plenty of time to answer any questions that you had. I did get a couple pre-submitted, but now if you look, there's a question in a Q&A or question and answer box. Feel free to type those in there. And I also wanted to let you know we do have a special promo going on through the end of the weekend. So that's through March 2nd for $200 off any of our 2025 adventures with the code CARIB25. So if you're not enrolled yet and you would plan to enroll, feel free to make use of that code. A couple of the questions we had submitted in the registration. One was about how many clothes to bring and if there's any laundry options.
That's a great question. Um, we have a full packing list for our programs that we provide to students in their portal once they sign up. And we've taken a lot of time to figure it out and decide what they need. So they should have everything. I would say most of our students spend a lot of time in bathing suits nearly all day. And then like a shirt and shorts that rotate for a couple of nights for dinner. So the packing list isn't huge, but it is well thought out. But on there's a lot of swimsuits, sun shirts, rash guards, and kind of sun protection and that sort of thing. There's not a whole lot of laundry options available, but they can do if they want with some fresh water on board the boat. But in general, if they bring everything on the packing list, they should be good for the duration of the program.
Awesome.
Mm.
Another question on where do the kids shower? Can one of you talks about boat showers?
Oh yeah. Yeah, boat showers is one of those things that is also a cool thing about being on a boat, I guess. Yeah, it's always fun. We tend to shower by using the ocean as much as possible. So yeah, the boat showers, you jump in and kind of get wet, get out, soap up, you do your shampoo or anything like that, jump in the water to rinse, and then repeat for your conditioner or your fruity shower gel or something like that. And once you are finished and kind of all rinsed off, you'll then take a 30-second, 1 minute sort of freshwater rinse to get the salt off. And what that does is it helps it helps with water conservation. So we're not kind of showering in the traditional way. And it's also a lot of fun. It's a time for sort of chatting on the back steps and kind of jumping in and perfecting your little swan dives, but also getting clean and keeping healthy. Yeah, we'll use antibacterial soap every so often to help with just the things that can end up on your skin when you're living on a boat. But yeah, we'll run through all that. It's a lot of fun. I think I like boat showering. There's nothing like having a shower and having a stingray swim underneath you while you're doing it. It happened to me once, and I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty magical."
Yeah. So it's like so fun to see the pictures, and it's just something fun to all the kids with the shampoo making
Yeah.
hairstyles.
Yeah.
Here's a kind of two-part question. First, is there a
Mm.
specific window you'd like arrivals on the day of departure? So I got, or a specific window, I guess maybe for arriving. I don't know if it's on the way there or on the way back, but I guess
Mm.
the answer is kind of the same for both.
We are pretty flexible. It's going into most of these places. The flights from the US are pretty rigid anyway. And so that means that often for our Caribbean programs, the flights arrive anywhere between 12 and 5 p.m. And we are happy with that, and we can accommodate any of those things for that. And the same with departure. All the flights to the US tend to leave around the same time, or generally all the flights from the St. Martin Airport seem to leave at the same time, or around the same time. And so it's pretty easy for us to accommodate anything like that. But if you do have something different, we are often able to accommodate that also. You just need to kind of let us know. We have a pretty good logistics team that can go and pick a student up from a ferry if needed, or something like that. So it's just kind of anything other than the standard airport. Just let us know. We can normally make it work.
Awesome. And then this other question, asking about what they do in the 4 days for the 21-day trip. So could you just mention the Windward Islands 21-day trip kind of briefly?
Yes, I can talk about that one if you want. For sure. So that 21-day program has quite a few more certifications on it than our 17-day program, especially the advanced voyage. And so students will earn their rescue diver and around 4 specialties as well. And an EFR, and a first aid course. So that takes up quite a lot of the time. Our Windward trip is really cool. It's a very cool experience where we visit some very different islands, and depending on the route, they'll either go from St. Lucia to Grenada or back the other way. So it just kind of depends on which way that they go for that. So they do a lot more diving, and they'll visit a lot more islands. They kind of go through that whole Windward Island chain on that program.
All right. What a question here that I can answer is asking about the entire cost above the fee that's published online. So that fee or cost of the program includes everything except for the flights to and from St. Martin or whatever location that the program starts from, and insurance. So we do require students have insurance, trip insurance during the program to at least cover anything that would happen on program. So if they get an earache or something like that, to cover that. We also offer and encourage families to look into travel insurance that might also include tuition protection. So there's typically two kinds that are offered, either the cancel for any reason coverage that's available in some states that would cover up to 70% of the cost of the program if you just if your student were to change their mind and decide they didn't want to do it anymore. And then there's cancel for covered reasons coverage that would cover the tuition if there were to be a medical emergency, parent were to lose their job or something like that, and they were not able to participate for a variety of covered reasons. Those quote, when you enroll, you can get a quote that's through a partner of ours, although you can also, select your own policy through another provider. But they kind of create the quote and it's dependent on the length of the program as well as the state you're living in. But usually it's under around $200, I believe, but maybe, I don't know if Freya or Clayton, you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I think the insurance options are great, but yeah, the cost of the trip online includes everything, all the equipment you need, particularly for scuba, things like that, and the cost of certification and the books, and college tuition if your student is on a marine biology program. So we've really tried to make it as inclusive as possible. Obviously, airline fees are different depending on where you're coming from and insurance, but everything else is included in the cost that you see online.
All right, I don't see any other questions here. I'm just typing out answer follow up to that. Oh, sorry, one more. If they can bring their own basic gear.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, anything that a student has that they like and they want to bring, totally bring it. We have everything that you need, but you can bring your own. Yeah, it's great if you bring your own. Yeah.
Awesome. So we are out of time. If you have other questions for us, though, we're happy to chat with you, answer other questions you have. I wrote Claire and Fran's emails here, chughes@gobroadreach.com or fjackson@gobroadreach.com. Also, feel free to reach out to us at brhq@gobroadreach or give us a call at 919-256-8200. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah.